Hello, Baker Advanced Organizational Management students. I hope everyone had a great week, good weekend. I was able to take some vacation time, so that was nice. So I get a little bit refreshed and ready to go in at work on Monday. So for the past week, I've really enjoyed reading your forum discussion posts, so continue that. There was good engagement. I will get you some feedback on the forum discussion post and week one assignments. By Tuesday, should have everything graded. So I just want to give you a heads up about that. Looking at week two, again, as I mentioned, week one, there is a lot of reading in this course, and there's a purpose for that. It is some intense reading, but we want to kind of try to get you to as much exposure to theory and understanding management and leadership practices. But with the readings this week, first with chapters chapters 4 to 7. Some of the key insights you're going to be looking at, obviously, is trying to build supportive relationships. The authors stress so much about how good communication is a key to profitability, and they look at differences between coaching and counseling. When I think of coaching, like my kids have done a lot of sports growing up, and you're looking at trying to improve very specific abilities. Like one, I'm trying to get some coaching for my son who's going to be a junior, at least so in North. I'm seeking out somebody that can help me with his kicking. We hope that he's going to be the kicker from next year, a high stress position. But if I can find somebody that can coach him how to change certain things, can work on those strategies, abilities. With counseling, you're looking more at in terms of perhaps giving advice, emotions, suggestions, strategy, but you're focusing more on maybe behavioral. So you read a little bit about that on the chapter 4. Chapter 5 with power influence. The one thing that really stuck out to me in the readings was with the idea of social capital, because I learned this in my doctoral program too. We forget about this, especially like when kids going to college. Those that are first generation don't have social capital. And what social capital is kind of the mentoring, the knowledge, the helping people navigate through the chutes and ladders. And that may take some time develop that as you enter a new job or new career. So you're trying to work on those sources of power and influence. But we know that social capital is a big influence. It can help someone if they're mentored well, they're given advice along the way. But you're going to look at the different types of power and how to influence power in that chapter. Chapter 6 looks at motivating performance. The thing that I really stuck out to me in the readings with this one is, a good thing to do, especially with your supervisor or manager or whoever you report to, is I really like what the authors talk about. What is expected of you, and I think that if you kind of outline that right away, that can help resolve any um, expectations of performance, making sure you're meeting that performance. And like the activity application exercise you're going to do this week with the one-on-ones, is those check-ins to understand, how things are going. But the interesting, about this chapter too, it also talks a lot about Ryan and DC's self-determination theory. Essentially, have motivation in the work environment. People have to have autonomy. That is the ability to make some decisions on their own. Comprehension, you have to understand what you're doing in your job. And the most important thing is relatedness. And I think this goes to anybody, whether they're different parts of their career, their different organizations they work for. If you don't relate well to the people you work with or who supervises you, it's going to be a very difficult situation for you. So I think that's, in dealing with motivation, if people kind of believe in, and they get just praise every once in a while, money is important, but it's maybe not that important. It's probably, I think one of the examples they gave about an example of a company, it was just that they felt so strongly about what the organization believed in, they were part of that belief. So, and then the last with the chapter 7, negotiating conflict. I like to use the economic term Pareto efficiency. You're trying to improve a situation, and there's different ways that the textbook and strategies that are discussed in this chapter, some better than others. But Pareto efficiency means that you can't take some other action without making somebody worse off. So, and I really like the strategy they talked about. Kind of helping people understand the behaviors. What are consequences of behaviors, and then also focus on the feelings too. So, I think you're going to find those chapters very beneficial. And as you're doing these readings too, I can't help it either. You're going to have things that pop up in your work environment or within your organizations that you're thinking about, which is good. Take notes, and you might write something on the side. I've done that a couple of times. And just, oh yeah, I need to revisit this, or talk about this is a good way, because we forget once in a while. We get in the grind and the routine. But one of the important things about education is self-reflection and learning, so we want to try to apply these things. The brief readings on the design chapters, you're going to read a lot about the case studies. Some of them are dated, and that's okay. It's still, the principles are still the same. But that every organization, whether it's at the department level or the entire organization, is going through change. Like one of the things I'm going to be asked to do this summer is create a virtual student success center with all the other centers. So it's a change. It's been charged by all the learning centers, by the VPs, that says you need to make this happen. So that's going to be a change in resources, how we do things and processes. And how do we get the buy-in from everyone and talk through with leadership to make sure it's a smooth transition. So, but I really liked how the chapters focus on what is the current state, what is the vision of the future, and the whys, why we have to move this direction, and then getting everyone involved. All the stakeholders are going to be impacted. Kind of have this guided vision of what we're going to. But of course, with this, it could bring about problems. It talks about problems of power, problems of anxiety, problems of control. So a lot of the case studies point out good things and bad things, a lot of bad things that happen by not factoring in all the adaptations that are needed for change. And change is going to happen. It's always going to happen. I like the one jokingly. It was I remember I had a '79 Camaro in college, and it literally had an 8-track player in it. I'd have to put this converter in with a cassette player to play my 80s music. But nobody has an 8-track anymore. So we're constantly changing. Technology changes things all the time. So otherwise, if you don't engage some type of change, your organization is going to be obsolete, because consumer taste and behaviors are always changing, and we have to adapt as organizations to those changes. So, all right, just some other little side notes quickly on with the. There's some videos out there. Consider the video supplemental. I would like you to listen to the podcast and the one-on-one to help you with the application assignment. When you do this application assignment, it just leave up Mr. X or Mrs. Y, whatever. I don't need to know people's names, or keep it very generic. But what you're really doing here is like a role-playing exercise. So I really want you to fill out that one-on-one form, think through it. The benefit of role-playing or scenario analysis is just to help you adapt to situations when they come at work. But one of the things they really stressed in the readings this week and the one-on-ones, it's one of those ways, eventually, to kind of check in with your direct reports all the time to understand, what challenges you're having, how are things going, building that supportive relationship, how are we moving together as a team. To create where we're trying to get to in the long run, or what are our objectives. So it could probably help resolve a lot of problems, and come to an understanding. What are the corporation's objectives, the organization's objectives, and how is that person's role and their ability to fill that role going to be part of that solution. So, and then finally, just make sure. Post in the forum discussion, based on your readings, and kind of give you an option this week, whatever readings, whether it's from Witten, chapters 4 to 7, or by design, I just asked you something that kind of jumped out to you. What did you glean from the readings? Something that you can apply. Again, you can use the citations, the APA in your post. And then the My Lab, that should be the slam dunk. So, make sure to get that done early. It's going to look at the locus control and stress management assessment. And give you some results, and that shouldn't take very long at all. So that's pretty easy, I said. But other than that, I hope you all have a great week. Like I said, I was able to get to everybody's forum discussion post last week. Took vacation time. I'm going to try to continue to do that if I can. But just know there may be some weeks that I don't get to everybody, so I'll kind of take some turns and maybe do half the class and do the other half of the class, just depending on how much time and availability I have. So, but again, if you have any questions, do reach out to me. And I hope you have a great week. I look forward to talk to you online. Take care.